how to make more profits from your rents. So it all kind of starts before you even buy the property. I know that sounds a bit weird, but due diligence. You got to do your due diligence. And the way that I like doing this is I'm going to assume you analysed the property, looked around the area, looked on property data, landlord, whatever it is. Talk to letting agents. A lot of people, they will go to an estate agent. Estate agents and letting agents are very different, by the way. Estate agents selling property, letting agents renting property out, okay, or letting them. So don't go to an estate agent. If you go to an estate agent and go, hey, what's the best area? What's the best area to rent them out? They're going to tell you the locations that they have properties to sell because they've got a vested interest in that. If you go into a letting agent, I would go to my area or general area and then go to 5 or 6 management agents, letting agents to go, right, if I could bring you a property, where would you love it? Like, what would be the best 1, 2, maybe 3 areas where you would be like, there's so much demand. There are so many people looking for properties there. And if you go across 5 or 6, you will see one particular area come up consistently. Once you've then got that data, I would then go, what types of properties are most in demand? Is it 1-bed flats, 2-bed flats, 3-bed terraces, 4-bed detached? In general, from my experience, the highest demand is 2 to 4 bedroom, terrace and semi-detached property. But it's going to depend on your area. But get your due diligence done because the more demand there is for your property, number one, the higher you can bid the renter, but also the less vacant that property will be or the more occupied that property will be over the long term. Next is budgeting. I really like this quote by Tony Robbins, where focus goes, energy flows, and results show. Often in life, what tends to happen is your thoughts become your words, become your actions. If I think about food all the time and then I go, oh, I'm really hungry, then guess what? I'm going to eat a lot more food. Shock horror. Whereas, and this is genuinely true, by the way, if you eat something small and you go, wow, that was really filling, I really like that, and you think about it and you say it, often you are no longer craving more food. Kind of a weird phenomenon, right? But it's the same in life. Think logically about this. If you wake up and you go to work and you're just thinking about, oh, this weekend, gonna go for a pint, gonna go do this, oh, I'm looking for shopping this weekend, all of that, you will have a life where you typically earn less money and you spend more money and you'll be broke. However, if your thought process is, right, how can I add more value? How can I exchange my time value for money? How can I get paid more money? Guess what? You're the sort of person that will work harder and earn money through time. It doesn't take a genius, right? And this is where it comes to budgeting. If you focus and put energy on it, you will start saving in a lot of areas. On top of that, you'll start understanding little tips and tricks so you're tracking them. So my recommendation is I like using Google Sheets for this. Spreadsheets in general are a really easy way to track it, but with Google Sheets in particular, I like the fact that I can access it from anywhere in the world. Once you get a bit bigger, you know, maybe you've sort of got 5 to 10 properties, you might want to use a piece of software like Xero, XERO, and there's multitudes of them out there, but manage your budgeting effectively on a monthly basis. Next is your tax structure. I am not an accountant, and this is not financial advice in any single way. However, a majority of people, since the changes of Section 24, it is more tax effective to set up a limited company. That may or may not be true to you. Talk to a professional, talk to an accountant, because I genuinely don't know. But at the moment, corporation tax is fixed at 19%. It's going to depend if you're a 40% income taxpayer or a 20% payer. It's going to depend on if you're looking to take out the money now or in the future, whatever it is. But make sure that tax is an effective part of your strategy. Like at my level, each pound that I'll earn, I'll actually get, and profit that I earn is going to actually be 50%. Okay, 50 pence, which is a real killer. If I earn 100 grand, I get 50 grand. It's not amazing, right? But if I save a pound, I have made £1. Think logically about that. If you make £1, you actually get 50 pence. If you save £1, you make £1 to your bottom line. So at an eventual part of business and your portfolio as you're building up your properties, might be your first one, but it's good to think about it. Tax is going to be your number one financial strategy that you end up focusing on. Next is staging. So I only really do this at the higher end of the market, but let's say the higher end of my market might be £900 a month, right? Higher end of your market might be completely different. I might rent some staging equipment, you know, some beds, sofas, lamps, things like that. The reason I like that, and it will especially be in places with larger than average rooms or smaller rooms. The reason for that is when people walk into a space that's a large space, it kind of looks a bit, well, quite literally scarce, right? There's nothing there. They can't visualize it. And then in a smaller place, they're constantly going, would it fit in? Would this fit there? Would a sofa look weird there? What would that look like? And by staging a property with furniture, it allows people to visualize living there. So over in America, apparently it's quite a common thing in like the suburban outlets, the bigger properties where families are going to move into. The local real estate agent, they will go around and bake something like cookies or pie. And it's not just to hand it out to people coming in, it's the smell. And when people walk in and they can see, smell, and touch what it would look like, what it would mean to be living here, people will want it more and pay more for the privilege. You'll be shocked about how much putting a bit of effort up front that can show them how your house could become their home, people will pay for the privilege. Next is reviewing your rents. A lot of people don't do this and they think they're doing people a favor. They're really not. The amount of landlords that I talk to that are selling their properties, for example, where their rent should be about £800, but they're renting it for £400 because that's what it would have been 5 years ago. And they've gone, yeah, they're a great tenant. I've never increased it. It's like the problem is the reason why that landlord is having to sell to me, sometimes at a discount, is because they've not got the balls to increase the rent. And the reason they haven't got the balls to do it is because it's quite a scary conversation to say, hey, I know that you've been paying £400 all this time, but I need £750 now. It's like, what? That's absolutely crazy as a jump. And it will be because typically most people spend what they're making. So if they're not spending it on rent, they're spending it on food, they're spending it on their lifestyle, they've got a car finance, all of that sort of thing. And so it's such a massive jump. So you're actually not doing anyone favors because more than likely, let's say you did have the balls to it, or I certainly will when I buy the property, they will end up going, hey, by the way, you're doing this and having to evict the tenant more than likely, otherwise putting the tenant in a bit of a precarious situation. So you should be reviewing rents, I would say a max of every 6 months. And I guess I mean maximum and minimum. Every 6 months, check them. I wouldn't go, oh, rents have gone up this month, I'm going to change it. I just think that's a bit of a dick move, if I'm completely honest. But every 6 months, if you rented something at £500, but now everything is renting at 575, I will communicate effectively. Now, if somebody's in the middle of a 12-month contract, you can't do it. But it's good for you to be aware and track on your spreadsheet. Now, you might think, let's say it's gone up £50 a month. That's not much. But you think, well, that's pure profit. Okay, that's £50 a month is £600 extra. That will be pure profit. By increasing the rent, it doesn't increase your maintenance. It doesn't increase your cost. It doesn't increase the likeliness of eviction, right? Now imagine if you've got 30 properties. Well, if I've got 30 properties, times that by 600, that's another £18,000 a year. That's a salary. That's a huge amount of money. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm only looking at buying my first property. But remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. So make sure you've got that in mind. Finally, maintenance and repairs. Now, there are two ways of looking at this. Number one, even if you've got it outsourced to a management agent, which I always recommend, make sure the prices aren't crazy. For example, I've seen stuff where the boiler's packed in, we need to get a new one in, it's going to cost £5,000. It's like, what? When we could easily get it done for $2,000 and make a profit margin on that, okay? So just because somebody else is managing your property, it's still your property. Don't just suddenly pay out left, right, and center because you're not actually managing it effectively. On the other side of that, make sure you measure twice, cut once. What do I mean by this? You may have heard this value first principle, or another way of looking at it, pay cheap, you pay twice. I don't like paying cheap on things. I don't like doing a bodge job on things. You are much better analyzing the situation and paying appropriately for a long-term solution. I'll be honest, go back 5 years, I wouldn't have been doing that. Just get everything as cheap as possible. And then I have this portfolio where the maintenance was crazy every single month. Whereas nowadays, I barely have any maintenance costs over the long term. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. There's a lot of different ways of making sure you're maximizing your profits. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I want to get my first couple of properties, you've got $100,000 in the bank or more that you're looking to invest, but you don't have the time, you don't have the experience, and maybe you just want help to build that portfolio, this is what we actually do. So my company is called Aspire Property Group, where we'll find, negotiate, get the refurb done, get the finance in place, everything for you, and all you need to do is invest the money. If that sounds like it might be of interest to you, put APG, Aspire Property Group, APG in the comments. What we'll do is my team will reach out, give you a link so you can book in a private, free, one-to-one strategy call, and we can work out if it's for you. So as I said, if you're interested, APG in the comments. If you're new to the channel, and by the way, it's always free, this information, you want to learn more, you want to build up your knowledge so you are ready to pull the trigger, whether it's in 3 to 6 months, make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell. I'd love to see you back in a future video. And if you did get value, it takes you 2 seconds, tap the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.